Hello and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing a topic that has been making headlines worldwide for some time now, the Uyghur concentration camps in China. The situation has raised concerns and calls for action from various human rights organizations and governments worldwide. But before we get deeper into the situation, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And related to this topic, you can find in the card appearing up here a video where we explain how China have been dominating the global market. Before we get into the details, let's first understand who the Uyghurs are. The Uyghurs are a Muslim ethnic minority group that primarily resides in the Xinjiang region of China. In recent years, China has been accused of detaining over 1 million Uyghurs in concentration camps, which they call re-education centers. According to the Chinese government, these camps are intended to counter terrorism and extremism in the region. The Uyghur people are a Turkic ethnic group who primarily live in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region of China. They have their own distinct culture, language, and traditions, and are predominantly Muslim. Since 2017, the Chinese government has been accused of detaining over 1 million Uyghurs in concentration camps, which they refer to as vocational training centers or re-education centers. According to Chinese officials, these centers are intended to combat terrorism and religious extremism in the region. However, many human rights organizations and governments around the world have condemned the detention of the Uyghurs and have labeled it as a gross violation of human rights. Reports from former detainees, human rights groups, and leaked government documents suggest that the camps are used to forcefully indoctrinate the Uyghurs into the Chinese Communist Party ideology and to suppress their cultural and religious practices. The Uyghurs are also subjected to intense surveillance, with the government using facial recognition technology and other methods to monitor their every move. The Chinese government has denied these allegations and claims that the camps are necessary to combat terrorism in the region. However, the international community continues to put pressure on China to address the situation and provide transparency regarding the conditions in the camps. In summary, the detention of Uyghurs in concentration camps in Xinjiang has been a major point of controversy in recent years, with many human rights organizations and governments around the world condemning China's actions as a gross violation of human rights. Despite China's claims, human rights organizations have reported that the Uyghurs in these camps are subject to various forms of abuse, including forced labor, sterilization, and organ harvesting. The Uyghurs are reportedly stripped of their cultural and religious identity and forced to learn Mandarin and pledge loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party. In addition, satellite images and survivor testimonies suggest that the conditions in these camps are inhumane, with prisoners being forced to live in crowded and unsanitary conditions. Reports also suggest that the Uyghurs are subjected to physical and psychological torture, with some being beaten, raped, and even killed. China has denied these allegations, claiming that the Uyghurs are being re-educated and that the camps are necessary to prevent terrorism in the region. However, the international community has expressed concern about the human rights violations in Xinjiang and has called for the closure of these camps. Reports indicate that many Uyghurs in the camps are being forced to work under harsh and exploitative conditions, including in factories that produce goods for multinational corporations. Some reports suggest that the Chinese government is profiting from the forced labor of Uyghurs in these camps. Also, the Chinese government has been accused of forcibly sterilizing Uyghur women in an effort to control the population growth of the minority group. Reports also suggest that Uyghurs in the camps have been subjected to organ harvesting, with some being killed for their organs. The Uyghurs in the camps are reportedly being forced to abandon their cultural and religious practices and pledge loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party. They are not allowed to speak their own language or practice their religion, and are forced to learn Mandarin Chinese and study Chinese Communist Party ideology. Satellite images and survivor testimonies suggest that the conditions in these camps are inhumane, with prisoners being forced to live in crowded and unsanitary conditions. They are reportedly subjected to physical and psychological torture, with some being beaten, raped, and even killed. Despite these allegations, the Chinese government has denied any wrongdoing and insists that the Uyghurs are being re-educated in order to combat terrorism and extremism in the region. However, the international community has called for greater transparency and accountability, and some governments have taken actions such as imposing sanctions on Chinese officials involved in the detention and abuse of Uyghurs. However, in 2022, a full report on the case was published by the UN Human Rights Organization, even with the Chinese government trying at all costs to prevent it from becoming public. In this report, whose link I will leave in the description of the video, which contains 48 pages, it is clear that all the suspicions and accusations against China and its methods were not a conspiracy theory. This was already quite clear for years, but the political disputes between left and right caused insane arguments to emerge in an attempt to defend authoritarian measures of the greatest communist power in the world. With this report and all the investigations that have been done, it is clear that the Chinese government's measures were not just an innocent attempt to combat terrorism and religious extremism, but an anti-human cultural extermination practice very similar to the Nazi dictatorship. In conclusion, the Uyghur concentration camps in China have raised serious concerns about human rights violations. The Uyghurs are a vulnerable minority group, and it is essential that the international community takes action to ensure that their rights are protected. We hope that this video has shed some light on this issue, and we encourage you to share this information with others to raise awareness about this important topic. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.